know, Just Baseball Show, Monday, August 9th. He's Aram. I'm Jack. Just Baseball Show, as always, brought to you by BetMGM. Also want to hit on Emerson Hancock and Ethan Salas off the top. One guy is going to make his big league debut. The other is going to high A at a young 17 years old, was born June 1, 2006. And then we've got some thoughts on the Kevin Brown thing that we want to share. Should we do the Kevin Brown thing right now? Probably, because like
every to you, Mr. Broadcaster.
Every moment there are 50 more tweets about it. So like I feel like we're wasting precious time right now. Here's the deal, man. Like last night you saw the chants at Camden Yards, free Kevin Brown. And you know, that awful announcing clip has 40 million views of Kevin saying something. And I quote tweeted that, or I reposted, quote posted. I don't know what X terminology is now.
X is, yeah.
I don't know. But what I will say is what I said on X, what I said on Twitter is the same exact thing that I feel right now. I sat there with a bunch of college buddies, bunch of college broadcasting buddies, and listened to that clip. And we were waiting for the slip up and the slip of the tongue slur or something like that, or something that could be possibly misconstrued as grounds for suspension. And there was nothing. What he said was, hey, the Orioles didn't win any series against the Tampa Bay Rays since 2017. Now they have the chance to do so. It's not only they used to be bad, it's they used to be bad, but they're good now. It's good news. He shared a positive thing on the Royals in a broadcast open, a pre-produced broadcast open, and he got suspended because the Orioles are soft as shit. That's everything. And I think
John Angelos is soft as shit.
Soft as shit. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm not saying fucking Adley Rutschman and Gunnar are soft as shit, because like I'm sure they're on Kevin's side. And
Mike Elias had nothing to do with this.
Nothing to do with it. It's a John Angelos thing, and that's how ownership works. And we're talking about the Jerry Reinsdorf thing with the White Sox too. This is all a reflection of the ownership in Major League Baseball. And the ownership in Major League Baseball, chances are it's probably fucked. A lot more people have issues with their owners than they do love their owners. So my only thought here is everybody's saying the same thing. And I agree with you. It's right. Kevin is a Syracuse grad. Kevin was the Syracuse Chiefs announcer from 2011 to 2017. I've listened to a shit ton of Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown's really good at his job. He's going to be really good at his job for a really long time. He's going to be a major league announcer for a really long time. It was not grounds for punishment. End of story. Everybody's saying the same thing.
It's objectively just a tough look for the Orioles when you don't even have like the edgy weirdos on Twitter saying like, "No, he deserved it." Like you don't. Nobody. It's unanimous even amongst the edgy weirdos on Twitter that like this was the dumbest shit of all time. Michael Kay. I'm not even a Michael Kay fan. I think he's good at his job. But Michael Kay's whole breakdown on this was brilliant. And Michael Kay is one of the more successful guys in this field, gets it, right? But I love just seeing Michael Kay go to bat for somebody that, hasn't been doing it nearly as long as he has, but he acknowledges is really good at this thing. And I thought everything, go check out the snippet of what Michael Kay said, I think on his show. But he really hit the nail on the head. He's like, this was something that was like created by the production team, and graphics people had to make it, and like a producer had to thumbs up it, and like
it was in the game notes, bro. Orioles PR puts it in the game notes.
Suspend them. Could you imagine being, I don't know, is John Angelos like a Chris Castellini billionaire, or is he like a billionaire?
I think he's a billionaire.
Or not Chris. Bob Castellini. Chris Castellini's the Barstool guy, right?
Yeah.
Bob Castellini. John, it's amazing. This shows you, if you think money will cure your issues, take a look at John Angelos. You can make billions of dollars and still feel so tiny and so weak that you get rattled about a broadcaster talking about what your team once was. And the reports were like, oh, it made me feel people within the Orioles brass thought it made them feel cheap. It seemed like it was a shot on them being cheap. Then spend more money. You have the 29th ranked payroll in all of baseball. Spend more money. You're so cheap that you're actually pissed about people not even insinuating that you're cheap. You're insecure and cheap to the degree that someone doesn't even say that you're cheap. You project that, think that they're saying that, and instead of just not being cheap, you suspend them. This is the byproduct of a insecure and cheap billionaire.
Who do you think has a higher net worth? The Angelos family or Jim Crane with the Astros?
Please don't tell me it's the Angelos family.
$600 million net worth higher. Jim Crane has a net worth of $1.4 billion, according to Forbes.
And it's more than that, by the way. Like, it'll always be more.
Yeah, and Peter Angelos, who's listed, John is like kind of the head honcho there. $2 billion, according to the LA Times. So, I mean, like, it's just a joke.
But the broadcaster said we're cheap. Not really, but
like, he didn't say they're cheap.
He didn't even say it.
He didn't even say it. He said they lost series between 2017 and 2022, and now they're going to win the season series. It's absolutely fucking insane. And like, everybody's got a take on it. And this is not a unique take, but this is the Just Baseball Show perspective of it. And I
just like making fun of billionaires.
Yeah, like, it's not tired. It'll never be tired. He was wrongfully suspended. He worked a radio series because another one of his broadcast, cohorts didn't wear Orioles labeled attire to call the game. Like, are you kidding me?
Didn't they fire John Miller too?
Yeah, and the four best. I'm going to give you the four. I watched like pretty much every broadcaster retaliation ever. Benetti did it in an amazing way, where he said the Orioles lost 6 games to the Yankees, and I hope the Baltimore Orioles don't suspend me. Like, it was just a dig, and it was good. And I know Benetti and Kevin Brown are they work together in Syracuse. They're very good friends. Gary Cohen with the Mets was amazing with it. He said, you humiliated yourself when you fired John Miller. You're humiliating yourself now. Michael Kay, like you mentioned, and Dave O'Brien, the Red Sox TV announcer, I think did a great job too. And Dave O'Brien, Benetti, they're both Syracuse guys. They both know Kevin Brown. Kay and Gary Cohen coming to bat for him was freaking awesome too. And everybody said something. So that's all we got to get out there, man. Like, it was just, it's a shitty situation. It's stupid. He shouldn't have been suspended. I'm glad that he's back in 2 days. And, hopefully this isn't water under the bridge, but hopefully this is the start of a long and amazing TV broadcast career in Major League Baseball for Kevin Brown. Emerson Hancock is looking to start his Major League career off on a really high note. Hancock, with Brian Wu going on the IL with forearm issues, Hancock had his contract selected. Former 7th overall pick in 20. No, that was Nick Gonzalez. 6th overall pick in 20. Out of Georgia, is going to make his Major League debut. I've long been a Hancock truther. I think you have kind of ridden the ebbs and flows of Emerson Hancock. What I will say before kicking it over to you is this motherfucker throws strikes.
Yes. And, I think he's found that. And I think that gives him a good floor. And the Mariners, they're a hot team right now. And, the Brian Wu loss hurts. I think Wu's obviously a better option than Hancock with the way he's been throwing. But the fact that you can plug in a Hancock who I think can hold his own, like, no doubt about it. He's a top 10 prospect in the system. He's one of their better arms they have left. And as you mentioned, he throws strikes, fastball and cutter. He's going to pound the strike zone with those two. Really good lineups. They may bash him if he's not hitting his spots, but he's going to give you a shot. I think he'll give you a fair amount of quality starts. And this is the guy that, a lot of teams are having arms go down. They don't even know who to bring up. This is a guy that won't be a scheduled loss for you in the rotation. Like Hancock, he's not the guy that we thought he would be as the potential frontline starter, but he's still 92 to 94, several 95s and maybe touches a 96. That cutter has really come along and become a weapon for him, and he'll mix in a changeup that he just doesn't command that well. But those two pitches alone, pound the strike zone with that, I think he can be a fine back end of the rotation guy for them and help hold it down. Again, that cutter has really turned into a weapon for him. So it's nice to see Hancock, like, through the ups and downs, injuries last year, maybe not reaching the potential that we had once hoped, and he's 24 years old. He could still be a really quality big league pitcher. And, I think this is a good opportunity for him to, solidify himself as such.
I'm not just saying that the word Bulldog because he was a Georgia Bulldog, but like, This guy is a bulldog. Like, he screams what the Braves have gotten from Bryce Elder this year. And Elder was like the 100th percentile. Bryce Elder pre All-Star break was like the 180th percentile outcome of what we thought Bryce Elder was going to be. But what Elder does for the Atlanta Braves is create consistency. And I thought that's what Kyle Muller was going to offer the Braves for a really long time. Muller gets traded to Oakland. He doesn't do that. But Bryce Elder is like such a good 5 to have because he's a reliable 5 innings every night. And it could be 5 innings of 2-run ball. It could be 6 innings of 3-run ball. Whatever it is, it's going to be innings. And I think that's Emerson Hancock moving forward. I think a lot of people dreamt on Emerson Hancock being a 2 or a borderline 1. He's not that. But what he can be is reliable, 9 Ks per 9, 3 walks per 9, and he's limiting hard contact.
Yeah. No doubt. The last thing I'll say is, he turns the page well too. He's going to have his blow up starts because if that cutter's not there or he's not hitting his spots, he's going to get bombed. But the thing is the way he turns the page is really impressive and how consistent he is otherwise. You have a 9 earned run start back on July 5th, and then he bounces back against a really good Corpus Christi lineup, which is the Astros AA affiliate, and goes 6 shutty, and then goes 7 shutty the day after that. So to me, this is a guy that, even through the down points and the rough starts, you don't have to worry about him. I think, he'll go back to the drawing board. He'll get right and he'll bounce back and give you a good chance at a quality start the next week. That's all you can want out of a 5 or a 4 is a guy that can turn the page when he gets racked and give you a quality start the next time around. And I think he can be better than that. Like, there's a world where he becomes, maybe an average 3, but he's going to have to find that third pitch. But in the meantime, I think he can more than hold it down for the Mariners, who have been surging. By the way, just won their 6th in a row. Don't sleep on Seattle.
It's not his job to bring the vibes. The vibes have been freaking great in Seattle. And Julio robbed a homer. And I mean, it looked like he didn't catch it. And then all of a sudden he pulls up his glove and it's sitting in there. Like, the vibes are really good in Seattle. And Emerson Hancock, I think, is going to help that, especially after the vibes may have diminished a little bit with Brian Wu going on the shelf. Before we get to Walker Buehler, 17-year-old Ethan Salas, who turned 17 in June, to High A Fort Wayne. I cannot wait to talk to my good friend John Nolan about it, and we might have him on the call up after a couple weeks just to chat Salas. And he saw Merrill, man. Like, there was a 2-week hiatus there between Merrill and Ethan Salas. But Ethan Salas to High A as a young 17-year-old catcher. Your thoughts, Mr. Layton?
I don't think people realize how absurd this is. It's crazy enough that he's not playing at the complex. It would be crazy enough that he was even playing at the complex.
Stateside. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so just to put it in perspective, he's nearly 2 full years younger than the next youngest player at the High A level, which is Samuel Basallo, by the way, which is, I always want to say Basallo, but I feel like we Americanize it to Basallo, but it's got to be Basallo.
It's Basallo.
It's Basallo. Catcher, by the way, with the Orioles. But before I had that full brain dead moment, because it's 1 a.m. as we're recording this.
Yeah.
He is 2 full years younger than the next youngest position player or player period at High A, Samuel Basallo, Orioles system, really good prospect. That guy's 18 years old. And he's the only 18-year-old. And he's about to turn 19 in like a day. That's why I said 2 full years.
Yeah.
He's about to turn 19. But he's the only 18-year-old at that level. So not only is Ethan Salas the only 17-year-old, in a couple weeks, he's going to be the only guy that is 17 or 18, which is absolutely asinine, especially as a catcher. It is ironic that the other guy is also a catcher, but he's about to be 19. He's old as shit. He's washed. Like, Salas is 17. I do think it's interesting, and it's just classic Padres, AJ Preller weirdo stuff. They're sending him up there in the midst of an 0 for 16 stretch, which is funny. But also on the flip side of it, this motherfucker's 0 for 16 and is still has an 837 OPS this season. Wait, like, this guy, not only should he not even be in low A, he shouldn't even be good in low A. He's great, very solid in low A, and now he's up to High A. I bet he holds his own there too. This guy's a special wonderkin type of talent. He might run into some trouble. That's fine. Like, it might be hard. Baseball's hard. He should be what would he be? 17 years old, junior in high school.
I think so. Yeah, he can go to an R-rated movie now without his parents, which is really exciting.
As of 2 months ago, he could go to an R-rated movie without his parents.
Yeah.
Like, dude, just think about what you were doing when you were 17. This guy's in high A. Very cool stuff. I hope he succeeds. He's going to be a good player for a long time. But to be 2 years younger, almost 2 full complete years younger than the next oldest guy at a level, I mean, that's unheard of stuff.
Not so shit. All right, we're going to get to Walker Buehler here. Quick background that I want to give for you. Tom House is somebody that we talk about with Walker. He goes to TPI in San Diego. That's where he threw to John Rahm, the world number 1 in golf and the Masters champion, who was just like standing in for a Walker Buehler bullpen because why the hell not? But he was there working with Tom House, and we talk about his relationship with Jose Barrios. Tom House is a very unique and one-of-a-kind pitching mind, and maybe the premier pitching mind in all of baseball. Tom House, if you're active on social media in the baseball sphere, has great interaction with Pitching Ninja, Rob Friedman, and with Codify, Michael Fisher. And Tom House is like cutting edge type shit. And I want to read you this snippet from his Wikipedia page. Quote, House became the pitching coach for the Texas Rangers in 1985, during which time he was notable for his work with Nolan Ryan. During Ryan's induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame on July 25th, 1999, he credited House as a positive influence on his career, saying, quote, while I was with the Rangers, I was very fortunate to have a pitching coach by the name of Tom House. Tom and I are of the same age, and Tom is a coach that is always on the cutting edge. I really enjoyed our association together, and he would always come up with new training techniques that we would try and see how they work into my routine. And because of our friendship and Tom pushing me, I think I got in the best shape of my life during the years that I was with the Rangers. That was Nolan Ryan's Hall of Fame speech. Tom House was the pitching coach with several other teams. He was the pitching coach for USC for a good bit. He was in $1 Million Arm with John Hamm, if you remember him. But his big thing is quarterbacks. He's worked with a lot of really good quarterbacks. I see Drew Brees, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Carson Palmer, oh my God, Terrell Pryor, Matt Ryan, Mac Jones, Andrew Luck, Jimmy G. Like, they keep on going. So the thing about House is, like, not only does this guy know pitching, not only was he a major league pitcher, but he also knows throwing mechanics from a quarterback, probably from fucking javelin throwers and from pitchers. And we talk about Barrios at a survey look, but he totally worked with Barrios this offseason on how he throws.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Walker wanted to just pick that guy's brain a little bit, and it's working.
Not surprising that Walker wants to pick that guy's brain. I mean, he's one of the smartest baseball minds and pitching minds, as you know, we talk about on the episode out there. And it was cool to hear Walker's perspective on it. I think you hit the nail on the head on the whole, just kind of breakdown of him. It's also, you know how, like, back in the day, and one of the dumbest things that we've done in human history is, like, the test if you were a witch was that they would tie like cinder blocks to you or like rocks to you. I guess they didn't have cinder blocks,
drowned.
And see if you drowned. But if you drowned, then you weren't a witch. Well,
you were just dead.
You're dead.
Yeah.
But if you survived, you're a witch. I think the like witchcraft test for Tom House was like, can you make Terrell Pryor a good thrower? And when he couldn't, they're like, okay, you're just a really good coach. You're not a magician or like a witch. So that was interesting. I also want to take this moment, speaking of pitching, awesome conversation on the call up with Jackson Jobe.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention that real quick. Talk about pitching minds. Obviously, Jobe's just turned 21, like has a lot of ground to cover to reach the Walker Buehler range. And those guys ironically mentioned Walker's cutter as inspiration for his cutter, cool. Which was really cool in the episode. But Jackson Jobe, one of the most like thoughtful guys and intelligent pitchers I've talked to on the call up, Tigers top pitching prospect, number 3 overall pick in the 2021 draft. That was a real cool conversation. He screams young Walker Buehler to me in a lot of ways. So that's why it was really cool to now talk to Walker a couple of days later. And I was like, wow, this is kind of like uncanny here of just like the way that these guys think about pitching, almost just like if you went back a handful of years. So yeah, that was cool. But if you enjoyed this Walker episode, go check out the Jackson Jobe one on the call up as well.
You just made so many Tigers fans so stupidly happy.
Yeah.
Without further ado, Walker Buehler.